All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Card Talk. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Tyler and Lou. Big episode today, as we have a full Q&A. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of questions to answer. I've got an entire Google sheet here. Shout out to Jay for sending this over. Got an entire Google sheet full of questions. So Jay, appreciate you sending this. Shout out to Courtney and Jay for grabbing all these questions. So we'll get into that here momentarily, but we got to start with the usual. The every week special, the what's on your mind. Ty, you're smiling. You just unmuted the mic. You came in a little bit later, try to throw some shade at me, but we'll digress. We'll let that slip. We'll start it with you and all your background noise. Ty, what's on your mind?
It's in the middle of the office.
Yep, I'm live from my desk in the office. Open seating, action. Couple people left, couple people to the right. It's actually how I prefer now doing the show, the episode. It's
I wonder
Monday.
if Judy would say the same thing.
Yeah, he prefers causing a ruckus the entire episode.
I wonder if Judy would say the same thing about if she prefers that.
I was just making a protein shake because I'm out here trying to get big,
Yes.
just like my card stacks, trying to get my muscles the same way, large. What's on my mind? Well, it was an amazing week for Manchester United. An amazing week for Manchester
Did they beat
United.
Barca in
They beat Barcelona in the Europa League.
thank you.
Second leg. So they do a home and home. Away goals no longer really matter. It used to be around away goals. But they beat Barcelona at home to advance in the Europa League. Old Trafford was buzzing. Anytime a squad like Barcelona comes into your house and you beat them, that's a big deal. Barcelona's leading the Spanish league right now. They're like 8 points clear of Real Madrid. A caveat is that they're playing in like the consolation tournament, if you will, not the Champions League, both teams, but Old Trafford, Manchester United at that is on their way. They're kind of making a comeback. They're like, I don't know. I'm trying to think who else is making a comeback. It's like a sports team in America. I don't know. The Hawks were making a comeback, but now
What about the Kings?
making a comeback. The King, they're like the Kings, maybe.
Third
Like the
in the
Kings.
West.
Yeah.
The playoff in
Very similar histories as well.
18
Oh,
years.
right. Are you doing a little post All-Star game getting into the NBA again? Is that what's going on?
No, it's not actually.
Got it.
Not even gonna lie.
Another thing that's on my mind, I watched more NBA last night than I had all year long.
Great NBA night.
Great NBA night.
Was last night the Lakers' big comeback?
Lakers big comeback, but it was actually during the day. It wasn't that night. It's
Game
the third
71.
person
It's-
today.
It's not over here.
You're right. You're in Paris.
So-
Dame 71.
Way ahead.
The Nuggets are just watching Nikola Jokic play basketball is an experience in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
It is funny. Side note, Ty, real quick. I know it's what's on your mind, but I got tagged on IG this morning with a tag that said, "After Card Talk and Card Collector 2 talked all the smack about Damian Lillard, my man goes off for 71 points and like talks about like again." I have no slander on Damian Lillard, the person. Damian Lillard seems like an awesome and super likable guy.
All right, Damon's not going to hear this, right? It's okay.
I know, but his fans might, and I just
Wait, did we slander? I thought we
we
gave
talked
him
about
love.
like
Didn't we?
we had a conversation about Damian Lillard and like what he's ever accomplished. We're like, hey, what's this dude ever done? He has like nothing, maybe some all-stars.
Fair.
Let's not go back to it after he's like the fifth guy ever to have 70
He's
points.
on a big down with those haters tour. So you might be in that bucket. If I recall, I feel like I was a pro Dame person in that.
That might be a little
Jay-
bit of rewriting history. We'll have to check.
Yeah, hey, we should check the tape on that. That
Can I
doesn't sound
rewrite
right.
history of peace, please? Jesus. All right, so yeah, those are the things that are on my mind. Manchester United big week. Unfortunate situation on the basketball floor with Gary this morning. I saw eBay's looking to hire the GM of the collectibles, or GM of sports cards, which is a big thing, I think, for the hobby in general, that they land a good hire there. Just overall, the Blake Martinez, I don't know, one of these classic story gets into the news 6 months later because the headline is hitting and then everyone's reposting it.
Yep.
feels like that's what's happening. I mean, shout out Blake Martinez. I don't think most people probably realize that we're talking about $5 million in revenue, not $5 million in profit.
$5 million gross.
Yeah, like on
maybe
8% margins. No great business, respect. Do your thing.
$5 million is no slack of.
That's real business.
That's a real business.
But if you're in it for 4.8, it's not. He didn't pull in 5.
Yeah, I think it speaks more to the fact that he got off the field and spun up a business this quickly, which is pretty
totally amazing. And one that he's loving and passionate about. And I don't know. My what's on your mind is week over week. It feels like sports cards are in a good spot. There was a first edition Mewtwo Holo, I think, just sold at an all-time high. Got that in the Card Ladder report. Yep. National Pokemon Day. There's a new Pikachu in the mix.
I saw that Detective Pikachu, right, or something like that.
Yeah. It's like Hot Pikachu, Narc Pikachu.
Narc Pikachu.
Yeah. Still trying to make moves on Hogwarts Legacy.
Is it for you?
For now.
Okay. Right.
Little light. Lou, I'll let you go.
You want me to go?
Yeah, I'll let you go.
All right. I have 9 things.
Oh.
I love the honesty up front. At least you set us up for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my 9. It was a great weekend. I was off. I was like on vacation. I was just thinking about things, having a good time in the sun, on eBay, searching things up left and right. So here's my 9 items. I'll go quickly. Number 1, NBA is back. Like Tyler said, enjoyed watching it over the weekend. Last night there was, or not last night, the night before, I think. I forget what game it was, but they had like blue jerseys. It was pretty sweet. I think I tweeted about it. That made me think of, I have a friend who's PCing a player right now. I don't want to say who the player is in case the card comes up and then the price goes up and then I got yelled at for being a bad friend. But I have a friend who wants to collect a player, wants to collect their cards from this season or from last season. So this year's cards, because he has a certain kind of hairstyle and he really likes the hairstyle. So I think that in this new generation of cards coming out and more stuff coming out, I think the companies would do a great job to lean into these random things that people get excited about. Like, as a Jets fan, I'm trying to think of something crazy that I would like want to collect. Like if there's a picture of Sauce Gardner with the cheese head on, I'm getting that card 1000%. And I think that should be like highlighted by these companies when that card comes out, because it's a pretty sweet, different thing.
Or if there was just like a card that just said green or
yeah, the cheese head card. I'm in.
Green or
next, baseball's fully back. The pitch clock, I'm not sure you guys have seen the conversation about the pitch clock. People are very upset. Those people are losers.
Can we do a quick where do we stand on the pitch clock?
Pitch clock is a phenomenal change for baseball.
Right. Who does it hurt more, batter or pitcher?
I don't think it hurts anybody.
Well, then, okay, I don't watch baseball. I don't care about baseball. What happened with like the batter in like the Red Sox game? Sox Guardians, I think.
So you could say it has equal weight to both parties, because if you're stepping out of the box, you can get called out. If you're the pitcher, it could be a walk or a balk. I don't remember exactly what the rule is, but the pitch clock is a great change for baseball. It'll take a few weeks. There'll always be like the quick reaction to everything when it first happens. Everyone hates it, but it'll be great, because I think I saw an Astros game was 2.5 hours last week, which is awesome.
Shout out to Jay for dropping a comment in the chat. It says, Lou loves steroids, buzzers, and pitch clocks. This is not surprising.
Jay is an old man who hates when things change and likes sitting around a baseball game for 15 hours to watch a guy throw 3 pitches.
And like do the whole Nomar Garcia Parra.
Jay's an 8-hour doubleheader, multiple 7th inning stretch.
Get a life, Jay. Go outside.
Everyone's going to adjust to it in 2 seconds. That's what humans do.
Exactly. Topps Industry Conference, Rye, I'll save that for you because I feel like you're going to have some thoughts there. So I'll save that one. LeBron's Space Jam auto got pulled out. It's like the 3rd one I've seen so far.
That's crazy.
I was a little upset that it was a sticker auto. Maybe we talked about that. Maybe we didn't. I didn't know those are going to be stickers. I feel like for a guy like LeBron who doesn't sign that often, having the on cards would be cool. Just my 2 cents. I'm going to skip over Fran McCaffrey because I feel like no one cares about college basketball. Luka Bounty.
Who's he play for?
Fran McCaffrey's a coach. He had like this really awkward stare down with the ref this weekend. I'll send you guys the link. It's just 20 seconds of him nose to nose with a ref just staring at him. It's a very funny clip.
What's happening with that? This Alabama stuff is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole...
that
we can go into that for hours. Probably not.
I mean, we probably shouldn't have done that for the intro. The pat down? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's tough.
Brandon Miller comes into
I
the
didn't
game.
see that. What, they patted him down on the way into the
He's
arena?
coming, he's coming in the game. He's coming off the bench. They're announcing players. They're announcing like Brandon Miller.
And they did a pat
And his
down on him.
teammate gives him the pat down for a
Yeah.
gun.
Tough. This is not the forum to have that conversation, but that is an interesting wrinkle.
That's
I
Interesting.
didn't even know who this guy was 2 weeks ago. I've now seen
He's
him
a
hoop
very
where
good-
he
he's a
could
lottery
jump out of
player.
the gym. I'm like,
Stud.
stud. I watched him for
41
5
points.
minutes. I'm like,
He's
this dude can
amazing.
play.
So good. It's like
Yeah.
Ohio State has one guy.
I
Alabama's got way
know.
more guys. You see Bryce Sensabaugh dunk on that kid from Illinois?
I did see that actually.
Oh
Ryan.
my goodness, we're gonna.
Did you just sneak in a Ohio State basketball?
NIT
highlight?
basketball
That's
team.
all I gotta look forward to right now. We're terrible. We're not even gonna make the NIT. We're like the worst
We're
team in the
first
Big
four
Ten.
out. We're
terrible.
the first 4 out.
We're not
right
even.
now,
We're not even. We're not gonna make the NIT.
Penn
Sorry.
State blew a 20-point lead to Rutgers yesterday in college basketball. They stink. But again, no one cares about college basketball, so I'll skip over it.
True.
Actually, wait. I do have a stat for Tyler I think he's going to like.
Yes.
Ranked teams in college basketball this season versus unranked teams are 184, 249, and 3 against the spread. It's a crazy season in college basketball.
What?
2
One more time.
games this past weekend. UNC was blowing some Virginia out.
Yep.
Lou, real quick. One more time. What was the spread?
So ranked teams playing against unranked teams. They are 184, 249, and 3 against the spread. So there's a lot of upsets this year and like weird games was basically the point I was trying to make.
Take
there.
the dogs.
Yes. Luka bounty. Do we want to talk about the Luka bounty? 1.5 million, now 1.6 potentially, but I feel like Josh was like kind of joking based on his
Yeah.
response.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? It seems like it's a little bit Logo Man 2.0e. It's going to become a big thing. So want to see.
Yeah,
if
it definitely seems like it will have some steam around it. The smart companies will definitely create a buzz
Mhm.
around it. Like there'll be other people that get involved in this. Like it I don't see. I'm trying to think through this before I say this.
Yep.
Initial hindsight. It's late here. It's 11:35.
Mhm.
Initial thought is, it creates a lot of good for the hobby. It creates a lot of like buzz and excitement
Yes.
around something, especially in a time where, Lou and I were talking time before you came on about the shop. We talked about it last week about the market's in a good spot. Like
Mhm.
feels like it's in a much better spot than we would have expected it to be right this second when we had these conversations December 7th,
Yes.
right? Early December going into the holiday was slow. Like we're like, hey, what's coming? We don't know. Like there's a lot going on in the world, a lot going on in life. The card market looks pretty good. There's been some really big shows to start the year. Burbank, Atlanta. There's some shows coming up like Bowman University. Shine also made bounties on that. With the CJ Stroud, the Bryce Young, and the Caleb Williams.
Mhm.
Serious 5-figure offers on those. We've been selling a bunch of that. I ripped some. It's a fun product. Shout out to Ty, pulled his boy Drew Aller.
Didn't Tyler say that guy was going to win the Heisman?
No, that was Nick Singleton. That was the running back.
Oh,
Drew Aller's the next QB in line that they didn't play over 8th year. Sean Clifford, who should have been out like week 3, instead to see what you have with.
move on. We
can't have the conversation. Sorry. It's too early for Ohio State and Penn State talk, boys.
February 27th.
I can see it in the comments. Yeah, anyways. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yes,
Draft to
seems like
survive.
the market's in a good spot. Seems like
Yes.
that's a good bounty that adds additional good buzz to a product that hasn't been relevant. And I mean, it's not that it's not relevant. It's just not like the new thing, right?
Mhm.
We always have a flavor of the week. When Bowman University comes out, that's a hot product. Everybody likes that. That's fun.
Series
I'm
1
not
was a
gonna
big deal last
WWE,
week.
Series 1's a big deal. Like, we're going to have a new product. 18-19 basketball has been forgotten about in terms of like everyday chatter in the hobby market. It is still a very relevant product long term. That was Luka's year. That matters. He's one of the best 3 basketball players in the NBA. Like, it definitely matters, but it's not a everyday conversation product. Now you take a product that was pretty expensive to begin with. I think boxes are around $300 to $3,500. That's a $40,000 case of cards.
Yep.
You had, interest and demand around a product that hasn't been talked about every day for a while. I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, it's again feels like a win for the hobby, and I think it'll add some fun excitement when it gets pulled, and definitely some social chatter.
Yeah, and I think also it'll be cool to
You're
see.
muted, Ty.
Good.
I was just gonna say, I think we're gonna see more and more of it. I think we're gonna see more of these gamified marketing approaches to like.
When is someone going to bring up the Steph Curry? Steph Curry Topps Chrome Super Factors never surfaced.
That would be fun to watch get ripped. That'd be cool. Yeah, like all that. I was also going to say for 2018 Prizm, it's like Jared Vanderbilt is kind of having a little bit of a moment right now because he got traded to the Lakers, and it seems like LeBron might be hurt. Like Vanderbilt's going to play a big role for the Lakers down the stretch, and like someone
the other day.
Yeah, someone pulling his biggest card or whatever, pulling a big Jared Vanderbilt, I think will be a little bit of a moment. So, I'm on number 7. Drive to Survive Season 5. I'm not sure if you guys have watched Drive to Survive yet. I'm sure Ryan has not because he's in Paris. But it's been a great season. I would argue the best season of Drive to Survive so far.
That's what I heard. Some chatter around.
Most behind the scenes I've ever seen. Most like comments of things I don't think really they would necessarily want on the show, but we're on the show, so that's the good stuff. And then football season's over. I don't want to put that much energy into football season, but Aaron Rodgers has been out of the darkness for like a week now, and I don't know what team he's playing for, so I'm starting to get really nervous about that. That's not making me very happy. And then my last one is Succession's having its final season this summer. I don't know if you guys watch Succession. That means nothing to cards, but best show on television ending this summer. I'm really sad about it. And that's what's on my mind.
I finished Full Swing.
Great show.
Good time. Great show.
Was it good?
It was good. Tony Finau really won over some fans.
Love it. What's on my mind? Been on a little personal vacation with my wife, some family, for a few days, for a week. This will be the longest I have taken off the shop since I opened.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been fun. I'll post more about it later, but it's been enjoyable. Time difference is definitely different, but that's why we're recording now. Shout out to Ty.
Has it been weird?
Yeah, it's very, very weird. The first day is probably the hardest because when you take we flew to JFK and then JFK over, and when you do that, it's like a 7-hour flight, and you land in London at like 10. We landed in London at like 9:30 a.m. London time, which is 4:30 a.m. your time, right? So right now, like, she's asleep right next to me, and it's 11:41 there. It's 5:41 where you guys are. Ty's still at work. We're asleep, right? So it's like by the time you get because Paris is 6, London is 5 hours. By the time you get adjusted, it's time to go back.
Yep.
And then it's like it's easier to go back at least, but yeah, it's different. So
how has it been weird being away from the shop as like vacation? Like what's that transition like?
It's hard. Because like I'm still like I'm not like fully away. Like I've had 2 phone calls with kind of my right hand guys since I've been away. Nah, at the shop. You guys for sure. But I've had two conversations, one at the end of the week, one at the beginning of the week. Like I had content prepared and ready to go. So like that's not something that like took a lot of time away. But yeah, it's hard. Like again, I've told you guys before, like we were talking pre-show. I had a conversation with Matt Leinart the other day on some card stuff. He's into cards now. That was fun. I got into cards hardcore in 2006. I skipped homecoming and proms. Like, this is all I have done for 17 years of my life. I love this hobby. Like, there's no doubt in my mind this is what I was meant to do. I enjoy this more than you could ever know. But I haven't taken days off. I did it in college. I didn't hide it from Reg when we first started dating. Like, it is a big part of my life. And this is definitely the longest that, like, I've been, like, not every day. It's what I do. I have life, personal things, like, other things. But, like, it is 9, 10, 12 hours of my day every day. And it's, like, it's definitely different, right? Like, going here, doing this, seeing this. And it's, like, Yep, we'll put that away. Like, it's different. It's an adjustment. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't take vacations.
Like turning your brain off is hard, right?
It's
Or
Yeah.
like
it's even
recording from at 11:30 from your Parisian hotel as
Yeah.
your fiance sits next to you or wife or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're probably the highlight of your day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck
That's
the
why
Mona
this is
Lisa.
probably one of the better episodes of Card Talk. I mean, we're 24 minutes in on a Q&A episode. We're showing what's in your mind. Like, I'm
Yeah, we're
fired up.
vibing.
I'm fired up to talk cards. Like, she's asleep. Like, we could go for 90 today.
Oh, let's go.
You hate to hear that, Jay.
Vaccine.
Jay's on a tight schedule. He said you hate to hear that. What's on my mind real quick? That obviously. The other thing is Lou briefly mentioned it. Unfortunately, was not able to make the Tops conference that is also going on right now. I've seen some posts from it. Want to give credit to the most I've seen from it is definitely Jeff, Sports Card Investor.
Yep.
He released a video probably 15 minutes ago, and it talks about. It said some updates from the Tops conference. One of them is, it says Tops will make an announcement in the next month or so that will be the biggest, I believe it said product in the hobby in a generation or a decade. One of the two words. I forget which word Jeff used. I could try to find it. But first thoughts, that's obviously going to be big. Is this going to be the first non-baseball product, non-baseball, non-college football product that they make? Is this going to be something with a basketball license? Is this going to be something with a football license? I don't know when those are up. They've also got baseball. What does that look like? I don't know. There's a lot going through my mind with that, but that's obviously big. They talk about they want to increase customer service. They want to get rid of redemptions. They're adding some products to upcoming top sets called Moments That Matter, I believe is what it's called. Where it's basically like they're going to take bases from important games, cut those up, put those in cards.
That's
and
cool.
Then Big League Baseball 2023 will include special cards that include a code for that MLB player on the card to follow you on Instagram. So, Moments That Matter featuring big relics from historic moments will be put into cards. And then Fnatic CEO Mike Mahan stated within the next month, we'll have the biggest product announcement in a generation.
Huge. That's quite a tease.
It's quite a tease. I don't know. Again, first thoughts. I don't know if they have what football. I don't think they have football or basketball. Panini's still making those.
Yep.
And it doesn't. And we would have obviously heard if there was some sort of deal. So I don't. I saw somebody mention on Jeff's post Top Scrum basketball. Somebody mentioned that. Like, but I don't think they have the basketball license. Can they still do that? Somebody said exquisite. Jay said exquisite in the chat, but Upper Deck owns exquisite. Are they going to buy Upper Deck? Do they have a deal with Upper Deck? Do they have a deal with Panini? Like, is there something we don't know that's part of that equation?
The crazy part is, like, it could be anything.
Agreed. Yeah,
There's so many different directions it could go.
Yeah. I can't hypothesize because, like, in a weird way, I like might know like what it is without knowing what it is, and then like my brain is, I don't know what it is, but I don't want to sit here and hypothesize and then be right and then be like, you asshole, you knew, and like I don't like. I just believe that the engines are in motion.
Yeah.
With Fanatics, and I think that's when I see eBay posting that job listing, like it's game on. It's game on for the real players. We're going to start seeing the timelines, I think, closed, meaning like the release, they're going to catch up to that. The way they did Series 1 was massive.
Perfect.
Cover, the way they're saying cover athlete is like a new marketing thing.
Yep.
So when I bring up the eBay thing, like I think the person probably sat over a bunch of things. They need to get super serious about sports cards. There's obviously 5 to 7 to 10 businesses that were founded and raised capital in like the bull rush and now have been trying to navigate what the future. I think you'll see a bunch of roll-ups in that over the next 12 to 18 months.
Yep.
Acquisitions for whatever tech might have been developed here, there, or what have you, or like accu hires for some different players. I'm excited for trade nights. The one that we're doing with 137. I just got my sub back. Some cards.
Oh, you got it back
It's
finally?
moving super fast. I got the grades back. I didn't get the cards back. I'll do a little
Should probably
reveal
check
here on the
mine.
show. So I don't know. I think to the point of the Topps industry thing, the product, I'm excited to see what they do.
And we're just getting closer to the national.
And we're getting closer to the
Day by
national
day,
award.
boys and girls.
But we are definitely getting closer to trade night.
Q&A.
Yeah, we're at Q&A though for sure. Great transition.
Yeah.
So we're
trade
doing
night-
Q&A. Just
That's all I was
we're-
doing there. I thought you were gonna give that. We're getting close to doing Q&A.
Yeah, we should do a countdown, right? How many days away are we?
The trade night or the national?
The national.
Oh,
Nash.
what's the first date? July 26th?
Natty Nash.
Sure. For the purposes of our story, let's just get it wrong. Who cares? The first day of the national is July 26th.
We're getting close. 149.
Let's go. Under 150 days away.
That's crazy.
Almost 137 days away. Thank you, Jay.
It's crazy.
Couple questions,
365.
couple answers.
Yep.
We're going to do Q's and A's.
Yes, we're gonna do Q&A. A lot of them here. We do
Wait.
have some.
Real quick. Jay said, don't let me miss it or I'll be in trouble. When you say don't let me, does that mean like we're supposed to tell you that? Okay, Q&A.
All right. So we've got a section of quick hitters, which are like, hey, Ty, like yes or no answers, one or the other, and we've got a section of like, let's have a conversation about it. So
Definitely
we'll,
keep pulling away your mic when you talk too. That's helpful.
Understood.
Yep.
Thank you
Yep.
for bringing that up. Sorry, Judy. All right. First question. Paul, I'm going to butcher this. Kasky, 5659. I have a question. Starting with Lou. Did you start collecting Mark Sanchez before or after the butt fumble? Anyways, what with other types of cards besides sports or Pokemon you would feel is the next big thing that would move in the hobby? Like, I know there's things like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, but would it be things like Pop Century stuff?
I won't even give that question the pleasure of an answer. So I'm going to skip over that one.
How about the second part?
The second part. To be honest, I don't totally understand the question.
It's like, what else can be popular in the hobby that's not already popular? It's what's the next thing?
That's so hard to say because it's like so outside of things you can predict. Like it's like a random thing happens. Like F1, the Drive to Survive hits, and then it becomes popular. Like it's so hard to predict that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Lorcana has a real shot just from the IP. That like when those things start to roll out, I think they'll have a real collectible nature around it in terms of like, I don't know, the Pumbaa to 5 or like Smee from Peter Pan. Like,
wow, that was a deep cut. That was a deep cut.
It's because I played Smee in 7th grade in the Peter Pan play.
That's awesome.
Deep.
I would love some game tape on that one, by the way.
I killed it. I just wish it was cool because I loved Thespian, but I just wasn't my scene, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, I think. Oh God.
It's Harry Potter dual autos.
Yeah. Shout out to us. Always been on that. I want that Harry Potter triple so bad. That's like my freaking grail card.
Truly.
Yeah, I mean, one, I think we got to give credit to some of our audience on this because our audience typically seems to be ahead of these things before they happen, right? We talked about this before with like the Bulls documentary, if you saw that coming, or a movie coming out about this guy or that guy, or a big fight coming up with Jake Paul, right? And Tommy Fury, if you saw that coming, or, just knowing what is coming, right? Like, to me, I'll give you a little insight. I don't do a lot of these. I hate these because then people say that I'm pumping stuff or doing anything like that. So I hate when I do these. But one that is on my radar right now that I think about, everybody, you do your own thing. The NFL draft is 2 months away. right? End of April, right?
Mm-hmm.
End of April, end of May.
It's
2 or
end of
3
April.
months.
It's end of May. It's one of those two.
Okay, 2 or 3 months away.
Yes.
There's likely I'm gonna say right now 4 QBs in the top 15 picks. 4.
Safe
There'll
to
also
say.
there'll also be some other big names that go up there. Those guys are gonna get drafted, and every time that they get drafted, people want their cards. When Bryce Young goes number 1 to the Colts, or CJ Stroud goes number 1 to the Colts, or Will Anderson goes to
Chicago.
the Chicago Bears at 4, and Bijan Robinson goes to the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are all. You now have Buffalo and Texas wanting Bijan Robinson cards, right? You know a good card that people are likely going to want because no, this is no shade at Panini. Panini's probably not going to have those products out by now. They still have 2022 products to worry about. They're not going to have their Prizm Draft Pick products out. At least I would assume not. That could change. I don't know the answer to that.
Are you going to say Bowman U? Because that's what I was going to say.
Bowman U is going to be one of the only licensed products.
Yep.
That CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Bijan Robinson, Will Anderson will have autographs in. They'll have rookie cards, right? There are people now, I'll just tell you, that are taking those cards and they're grading them, and they'll have fresh graded slabs on eBay, on Whatnot, on Instagram, and at shows come draft weekend when those guys are picked. And you have multiple teams now wanting those cards. You have 2 collector bases, right? CJ Stroud goes to the Colts. You have Colts and Ohio State fans want Stroud. You have Bryce Young as a Texan. Texans and Alabama want Bryce Young stuff. That to me seems like a play when, again, you gotta let some of the initial buzz die down because it's gonna be hot the first 7 days. Everybody's gonna want it. And then some of it's gonna cool off. But when that happens, there will be an opportunity to buy stuff that you can flip when it is more relevant in the next 90 days draft season. I think that opportunities like that will arise. But there's always going to be other stuff that is, not on here. Like Tyler said, Lorcana. If you believe in pickleball, Leaf keeps producing pickleball autos. There's going to be also,
I followed a disc golf account today. I don't know disc golf cards.
I don't know about that. Lou and I were definitely not involved in, tennis. We missed out on Alcaraz. Like we missed out on that. But like there's opportunities there. Some people we know listeners made money on that. Fanatics is doing some cool stuff. Panini's gonna have some cool stuff. If you're sitting on 1819 Prizm basketball, you're probably doing all right when Sean says, "Hey, I'll give you $1.5 million for this card," and all these big breakers are like, "Well, where can I get Prizm?"
Do we think $1.5 million is too low?
That's a lot of money.
Okay.
Do you think they're sitting on a lot of product that they're then selling?
That's a lot of speculation. That's a little speculative. I'm not in all that game.
You trying to be speculative, Ty? What's up, bro?
I'm just trying to.
Next question.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Ty.
I just say what comes to my brain, I guess.
Adam Miller.
The Parisian Rye has different thoughts.
Adam Miller says, what are good sets for a Connor McDavid patch auto card to hold long term if you can't afford his rookie prices? I think this would go back to the conversation we had about Mahomes when we talked last week. I know Jay clipped it and put it on social. Rare, game used, on card, low numbered, high graded. Those things, right? Search for things that make something unique, right? Search for things that are not high numbered, not 500, not 299, not 100. Find things that are lower, serial numbered 5, 1, 10, 25. On card autos versus stickers. On card has more. Higher graded does better than lower graded. Game use patch does better than non-game use patch. Like things like that. Look for anomalies there, but that to me is the stuff that I would look for. Black Diamond, ingrained, exquisite, the cup. It's not exquisite. The cup. Stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff. I don't know all of the hockey products well enough, but that's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, like
Connor Bedard.
That is also an option. Is Patrick Kane going to the Rangers?
It's sitting. It's.
I've heard that might be happening. That's pretty cool. He was really good for a long time.
Didn't the Rangers just get Tarasenko?
The Rags are kind of building something a little bit here.
Going for it. That's what you call it. Going for it.
Lafreniere, Panarin, Tarasenko.
Just going back to what you were saying, right? I was just literally searching Connor McDavid patch on eBay, And there's a 2021 exquisite out of 10 patch card that sold for $185. Like there's stuff out there.
Yeah, you said patch auto.
Not patch auto. Yeah.
Yeah, he said patch auto. So again,
Autos are expensive.
yeah, I think your point is still the same. It just goes back to the things that there are definitely options. Do your research, but those are things I look at when I'm buying is things not everybody has.
Yep.
Jacob Stevens, shout out to Jacob, longtime listener. What is your ideal number of releases / products for a sport in a year?
12.
No way.
What was
What do you
that
mean,
question?
How many? What's an ideal number for you, Ty, for releases in a year?
For each sport?
That I'm interested in?
Each for a particular sport.
Oh, for a single sport. So if we were to say basketball
Correct.
releases. It's hard. It's really hard. And I think Lou's answer to 12 is once a month. Right? I think that's where you were going with that one. If my
Yeah, no, that's a safe assumption by you for sure.
all right, cool. Just want to make sure. But like, there's
25.
price points. There's interests of.
Yep.
You could have price point, high price point, a lot of cards. High price point, one card. Low price point, limited. So there's also that aspect that like just the matrix of math, which is where I would go. I'd just double lose. I'd just say 24.
Yeah, so I said 25 to 30. I think the problem with the question, like, and again, I've seen a lot of stuff on
This question
Twitter.
stinks.
That's a great question. Shout
I'm
out to Jacob.
joking.
I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter this week, and I think this is a very interesting debate because a lot of people have said, what would you ask Topps? What would you say to Topps this week at the Fanatics Summit, right? If you could talk to Panini, what would you say to them? And a lot of the things I hear a lot of on feedback are make less product. And I think that is easier said than done because I think that creates a different dilemma with breaking being the biggest thing in the hobby right now.
Mhm.
I mean, the cup hockey, I can tell you on the secondary market, like wholesale, like dealer to dealer pricing is up like almost 30% since Friday. I mean, boxes were, getting near 1,000. Now they're up above 1,000 on, breakers trying to rebuy it. So I think lowering the production on that, it's kind of that fine line where it's like if you lower the number of sets or number of different products or number of cards in a particular product, it's a fine balance to where, we saw it with retail before. Now retail's overproduced. Retail used to be underproduced. You used to wait in line at Target and get 5 blasters, make $100. Now blasters sit at Target, right? I think it's that fine balance of, hey, we don't want blasters to go for $100, but we don't want blasters to sit for 6 years. How do you kind of balance that where it's like, hey, you want to be, and I think, Ty, your point is perfect, where it's like you want a father and son to be able to come into your shop and be able to buy a hobby box for $100. That is obviously an ideal place. We want there to be collectors that runs the hobby for sure. All about that. But there are definitely cards that breaking is a big part of it. And what you don't want to do is have breakers with nothing to break. And then they just buy all those $100 boxes just to break those because they need something else to break. So it's a real tricky dilemma on making enough without making too much, but making enough where you don't raise the price of every box 10x because breakers needed to continue to run $1 million businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in a hobby that is based around consumption, like buying and selling things, there is never too much. So it's almost impossible to lower it, even if we think it would be best for the health of the thing, which I don't necessarily agree with, but you're muted.
I was going to say, the people that want less, it's because they want the cards that
Yeah.
they own to be worth more.
Yeah, the only reason I said 12 was because like you could eventize around a monthly release. Like that is a thing that you can do and all that, but
it's just the classic.
Want your cake and eat it too?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
The story of cards.
Yeah, and life.
OSU cards.
Here we go.
What scares you the most about the future of the hobby?
That was a good question.
What scares me the most about the future of the hobby? People with platforms like ourselves thinking they matter more than they do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know what you're trying to say. That's also a worldwide issue.
Sure. Every hobby collector that has a Twitter account thinks that they can run the company better than the person running it. Is essentially kind of where
like a man in the arena.
Yeah, man in the arena, or just like my perspective is the one that matters. So like if it's not this way, this sucks, and just like the negativity and infighting and what that leads to versus just like enjoyment. And the only reason I say that is because I think a lot of people, if they could recognize that, they would enjoy the cards and the relationships and their own collections a little bit more. That's it, really. Like, and why I start with like us is just because I don't want to, it's like pot calling the kettle black, but like at the end of the day, you love cards. I love cards. This is a byproduct of that. And my hope is that I'm never in a place where I think that I deserve more of a say than a person left or right of me because I might own a card or have people listen to what we say, right? I guess that's kind of...
Yeah. It's like the person who calls into sports radio and is like, fire the GM because of XYZ reason, and I wanted to draft Justin Fields instead of Zach Wilson, so we should fire the Jets GM.
Yeah.
Yeah, and part of that is like
Monday morning
also the good side of things because that's fandom and madness.
But it gets to a certain point.
What worries me because then it just gets to a point and it's like you lose the fun in it at times.
I would say my number one fear is customer service not being the priority in a hobby that is based around the people involved in it. And that starts with the companies, but that goes as low as Ryan's shop and it goes as low as a group grader or whatever. Like part of this hobby is the people and the conversations that go along with it. And the whole thing is built around trust, and customer service is, I would say, the number one priority for everything hobby related going into 2023 and beyond.
That's a great answer. And it's kind of like a little bit of a counter to mine, which is fun.
I think there's a couple. I don't know if they would scare me. I'm pretty optimistic. I'm pretty open about that. Pretty optimistic.
You're not a fearful guy.
Yeah, in sports cards, no. There's a couple that come to mind. The fact that the hobby is such a monopoly in so many areas is something that I wish was different. I wish every company had access to all of the licenses. I think it would create better customer service.
What is this sound going on in the background right now? What is happening here?
It feels like a French midnight thing.
It might be a Parisian thing. Yeah, keep going.
What?
Nothing. Just keep going.
Oh, God.
It's better that you didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what it was. I think if all of the companies had access to the licensing, at least multiple, if they had access to the licensing, it would create better products, better customer service, more appropriate timelines, things like that. It would increase consumer experience for sure. I think the consumer wins in the end when companies, Panini, Topps, Upper Deck, and Fanatics having access to MLB, NFL, the whole list.
Yeah, competition creates like the best products. Like that's not breaking news.
That is one I would that we'll see, right? But makes you wonder. And I think the other one is, do we have enough collectors coming into the market or just flippers?
I think the last few months is a sign that like the collector part is there.
I hope so. I'm not saying, again, this isn't like I don't believe it to be true. This is just things that I think about long term that would love to see more collectors get in. I think the Fanatics commercial is cool with J-Rod, stuff like that. Like continuing to get the youth in is always important. I think that's a big piece of this puzzle. But yeah, I hope there's more collectors that continue to get in the hobby, not people that got in when it was peak COVID and money was pouring in. And hey, it's not there anymore. I'm going to get out. And it's just people that were in it for the money. So hopefully there's some more collectors that continue to arise over the next 12 to 18 months.
I agree.
Top load tank 209.
It's a great
This
name.
is funny. Do you think Bowman U will replace Prizm Draft picks in tiering of the college products?
That's a good question.
I think it's a fair question. I love Prizm Draft picks. Bowman Chrome was a really popular Prizm or football product. I'm sorry, baseball product. Bowman Chrome is popular in baseball. Prizm is popular in football and basketball. It'll be interesting when Topps and Fanatics has a competition, a competitive product to the Prizm Draft picks, to the collegiate model. I think that it's going to be really interesting to see it play out because this is really the first time they've gone heads to heads on something.
Yep.
Right? Panini doesn't have the baseball license. So Fanatics and Panini have never competed on any product. Now they have competition. Both licensed products. One has, Panini's got Prizm Draft Picks basketball, which they started putting college. I don't know if you guys caught this. Prizm Draft Picks college basketball just came out with Banchero, Chet Holmgren, Mathurin, guys like that. There are college guys in there now. That Zach Edey kid, the kid for Purdue. There are other guys in there. So Panini's putting current college athletes in there. When is Panini going to release? I said earlier, I don't know if it'll be out by May, by the time of the draft. They have, we still have a lot of the 2022 products with Purdy to come out. Are we going to get 2023 by then? Maybe. Hopefully. I would love that. I love Prizm Draft Picks as a college football collector. But it's going to be an interesting thing to see. Again, the market's going to decide. I think Panini's going to get a run for their money on that Bowman University product.
I think the interesting thing about Bowman University, and Ryan, you'll be able to tell me, is this the first time that they've had like the Ohio State logo with a
Topps? Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like that's a pretty big plus up for Bowman U in my opinion.
That's what I mean.
And also gives it a lot more life beyond the like you're saying exactly in that 90-day window.
This is a head to head on Bowman Chrome University and Prizm Draft Picks. Who is going to win out here?
I agree.
Do you have any for sale?
Yes.
Can I? I'm seeing it's like 130, 125 of the correct pricing.
130 inch up.
Can I pick up 2 from you? Live deal. Yeah. Nice. Let's go.
Live deals on Card Talk.
Let's go. I need to rip open 2 of those puppies.
I'll find a couple Drew Allers and some Nick Singletons to send you because I don't have any use for those.
Yikes.
Nice.
Bums.
Although when Drew Aller is lifting the Heisman next year.
Just like Nick Singleton was supposed to lift the Heisman last year.
February 27th. February 27th.
Did Nick Singleton not having pretty fantastic freshman
trophy year?
Do you think 10 people on the street could tell you who that guy is?
Yeah, for sure.
No chance, Ty.
If we had him as a guest and didn't tell him who it was, nobody would know who he is.
And that's no disrespect. He's just a freshman running back in college football.
Yeah, good one at that. Very strong.
He's pretty good for sure.
All right. DMS98 says, what affects the vintage card market and why don't more people invest long-term in it?
Because people don't know who those people are.
You know something? Shout out to DMS for the question. Shout out to Dylan. This is a great question, but I want to edit this question because I saw something the other day.
You good, Ty?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I saw something the other day, and I want to ask you guys this. This made me think so much, and I'm so curious your guys' thoughts on this.
You had your thinking hat on?
Had my thinking hat on that day.
Okay.
50 years from now.
Yep.
50 years. Play this out. Who is more relevant in sports card hobby?
Oh.
Babe Ruth or Jackie Robinson?
Jackie Robinson. By a comfortable margin.
Agreed. I would agree, but I don't know if it's currently the case.
It's hard to say, I guess.
Lou Alcindor or LeBron James?
LeBron James.
That's a good question.
LeBron James.
I don't know, because this is what I think about, and I've actually in the last week done this in my head. Yesterday, as I was crossing the street, maybe it was Friday. In 50 years, vintage cards are going to be 50 years older.
That's another undeniable Tyler Schmidt fact.
You think Mickey Mantle cards are old now?
I'm with you. I'm here with
Give
you on
them
this. Keep
another
going.
50.
What
You
about
know
when
what I'm saying?
LeBron is
It's
a
one of
vintage
those
card?
I don't disagree, but like
I love him to Lou. This is undeniable, Tyler.
it's just a younger vintage.
It would be less vintage than more vintage.
That's what I'm saying.
You know how they call it like pre-war
compounding
cards?
nature of vintage, like just might.
Yeah, vintage has moved up to like 1989.
That's what I'm saying.
That's 1989 is vintage now. That's like right before I was born.
Yeah,
Now
like
just think about a 1952 in 2052.
Sheesh.
And you're like in the mix. You're younger than Mark Lazary, who just sold the Bucks today in 30 years.
Oh, they said I was older than him. I was like, geez, I'm
No,
worthless.
no, you're not. But like 2062, you're still going to be
2072.
No, I'll be
20, well, that's
old.
50 years.
I'll
You'll
be
be in
80.
the mix. You'll be
I'll be 80.
wheeling and dealing.
80. Wheeling,
Yeah.
like in a wheel, like wheel in.
No,
That
80,
should be
bro, you're going to
deal.
be cooling.
Yeah, listen,
I
I
mean,
don't
on
know
the
if I- I don't know
golf
if I'm
course
seeing
at
80,
80.
if I'm being honest. I'm just calling it what it is.
You're seeing 80, bro.
I don't know.
Judy says American Girl dolls just announced
Ryan
their
with that
new-
hairline is definitely seeing 80. Come on.
Their new historical dolls from the 90s.
That's cool. American Girl dolls are a factor. As someone who grew up with a younger sister who was obsessed, shout out Meg,
Yeah.
who was obsessed with American
My
Girl
sister was
doll.
obsessed with those things.
Now think about a 1995 American Girl doll and give it another 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
More vintage.
Yeah, in 50 years, those cards will be 50 years older.
I think about this with all of the stuff now because I did that shop tour last week. 5 states, 5 days. We did a little spending challenge video with whatnot. It was exhausting. I went to all these different shops and they all did different things. I got to learn about all these, and I saw some video games at one. Started talking about, like, again, we've talked about this before in the show. I don't do it a lot, but it's like, you know, I remember coming home from school and playing Modern Warfare. I remember like Crash Bandicoot. I remember like NFL Blitz on like the PS1, like NBA Jam, like stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. Like, I would love to get a copy of these and throw these in my office. And I start looking up Modern Warfare, like 9.6, 9.8 WADA. Freaking outrageous. Jay, I'll save you the beep. Outrageous. And I start thinking about things like that. And I'm like, okay, like early Air Max, early like shoes, right? I think about like
the first iPhone just did 60 grand.
63 grand on an iPhone. You think about some of that stuff.
I remember, I know vividly in my brain the first time I ever saw an iPhone in person. I freaked out today because Mark Lazary bought the Bucks for $550 million after I graduated college. And to think about an NBA franchise going for under $1 billion, like not even 10 years ago.
Yeah, he sort of shared the Haslams for at a $4 billion valuation.
What do you guys think about this? Is probably we could talk about this for I could at least talk about this for like 4 hours. Do you think in the age we are now, where there is significantly more things to buy and collect and consume, does that like dramatically lower the collectability of something over time? Like a Mickey Mantle in 1952 was a huge deal because it was like one of the few things that was around at that time. A LeBron James Topps Chrome refractor. Do you think that has the same staying power as a Mickey Mantle 52 Topps?
I don't. I think it makes the more in-demand items even more in demand. I think it makes it harder to be a really
cream rise to the top kind of thing.
Yeah, like
I guess that's probably
just in everywhere we're seeing this gap widening, and so I think the most coveted cards are only going to continue to get more coveted. Being a really good, thoughtful collector and curator is even more of a in-demand actual expertise.
But like we always talk about, at some point the big cards become so big the average person can't afford them. And I think what you're going to see is the LeBron James Pop 2000 Topps Chrome Refractor PS 10, whatever the pop is on that, 1000, 2000, I have no idea. Whatever the pop is on that, we're not making less cards as time goes on. They're not making less LeBron James. They're not making less Bronny James refractors than they did LeBron James.
But this is where your expertise comes in crazy because, like,
but 50 years from now, the LeBron James refractor at Pop 2000 will be a small number. Just like when I bought my 52 set, when I bought my 52 set in September of 21.
I see what you're saying.
There was 1,300 Mantle graded by PSA. 1,300. I would imagine the LeBron Topps Chrome refractor is not far off that number.
There's 174 PSA 10s.
Okay, how many PSA 9s?
357. It's 676 total graded pop.
676 total graded. That's not that many. 50 years from now, when they've got 50,000 Victor Wembanyama's sons
of fives,
PSA 10s.
But how many of fives that people don't really know about because they're not as educated on card LeBron autos are there? And those that do know them, does the of five become and just be that much bigger? Whereas right now, it's not the card that's in the know. Like, that's where I think.
I just don't think you're going to get a guy. Like, you're not getting a LeBron James that nobody doesn't know about. Like, you're buying cards that will be historically. I bet on for instance, I bet on a card today. I lost. I bet on the Adrian Peterson 2012 Prizm Black Finite. I've collected Peterson for a while. It was one of my favorite running backs. Again, I got an 06. He was an 07. I got to watch him my entire card collecting career.
That's great.
One of the better running backs I saw play.
Oklahoma.
2012 Prizm football and basketball, in my opinion, will be the modern day card set. It changed sports cards. It is beyond popular. That card went for $6,800. I think of cards like that as like those kind of unique one-off pieces down the road are just going to become more and more rare. And those are the cards I think that we'll look back at 50 years from now that will go up for auction and be like, hey, this was a legendary set when the sports card market boomed. This has value, right? Like the PMGs did. Like there's certain things that I will compare that to. But I don't think you're finding that of like I think the LeBron autos people know about. I just think the LeBron rookies, like the Brady rookies, the Jordan rookies, like those cards, while they may not appreciate 8 million% between now and the end of 2092, I think those cards can be looked at as an asset class that you would expect to appreciate no different than you would the stock market.
I hear that.
Again, a conversation for another day. Like Lou said, we could spend 4 hours on this.
Easily.
Kai asked a question. KP, 2 cards. What's your biggest sports card hot take right now? Love the show.
People still are not understanding soccer and the impact of global footy. Just this past weekend, the MLS kicked off. Multiple full stadiums, 65,000 plus people. I think it is here. I think it's on our doorstep. I think 2026 is in 2 seconds around the corner. World Cup is going to be on these grounds. I think that if you look at the top 5 most followed athletes in the world, it's just dominating in that genre. I don't know. That'd be my hot take. People are still sleeping on proper football as a sport and the collectability in and around it at scale. That would be my take.
Mm-hmm.
I would, similar to that, I would say the same exact thing about sports cards. I think we're beyond early.
As a collectible asset type of thing.
As a mainstream thing. It had its moment in COVID. We got back. COVID, whatever.
Respect.
Market moved a little bit. People got out. Fanatics spent a lot of money on this. They got a lot of assets. I don't think this is the end of sports cards. I think there's a lot of money being put into this, and I think this is just the beginning. I'm not going to sit here and say everybody's assets are going to go up 50x over the next 6 months. That's foolish. But I think as a long-term game, as a long-term hobby, this is. I think we're just gonna start seeing this rise over the next 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Respect.
The thing I would say is the low-hanging fruit is still too cheap, in my opinion. Like the LeBron James rare stuff and the Messi and whatever. Like the obvious things are still too cheap because people are looking in a window of 12 to 18 months as opposed to 12 to 18 years.
Yeah, I think there's also, again, conversation for another day. If you believe in sports cards for 50 years, if you believe in these assets and
it's
you
a completely different thought process than the day-to-day stuff that we all do.
Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities right now on cards that are down 25, 50, 75%. I mean, just the list of cards that is down. If you are a believer and you have the liquidity for that, there are definitely opportunities now. If you have those at your.
It's very difficult to think about something in a 50-year window.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's underrated.
Sure. Let me see. Real quick, before we move on to the quick hitters.
Okay.
NAB Wizard Cards. Thoughts on the National being in Chicago this year? What's the area and venue like? Close by, pretty nice. I have always said this as somebody hasn't missed a National since 2009. Chicago is the best venue for social life. It is by far the best venue. It's not even a debate. It couldn't be a debate. There are 4 or 5 hotels connected to the convention center, meaning you don't have to leave your hotel. You don't have to step outside, like out in cold air, to get to the convention center. Yeah, I mean, it's July. Thank you, Lou. But it's like the fact that it's all connected is very nice. It also means trade nights, the lobby, those things are crazy post-national. It's basically 24/7 for 5 straight days, nothing but cards. It's very great. Hotel nearby, there's good places to eat. The convention center is humongous. Convention center is tightest. It is, my understanding, I could be wrong on this, would love somebody to correct me if I am wrong. I believe it is the smaller of the spaces they use for the show floor, which means the aisles are tighter. It's a little bit more jam-packed. You have less room to move throughout the show floor space. But outside of that, it is very, very nice. It is a great spot for social.
I agree. I've only been to 2 locations, but I think it's a lot better than AC coming off of that. So it's closer. It's close enough to everything. There's like a little mall area over there if you want to go watch some games one night. There's like sports bars, places to hang. So
yeah, very nice.
And it's right off the airport too, which is a big factor.
All right, this is agreed. Very, very important. Since this is a full Q&A, we'll throw one more in here real quick because I think this is important. And I know Ty, you've talked about this a couple times. Jason S. asks, how do you feel about the adoption of vaulting will affect card shows, if at all? If people use vaults like eBay, PWCC with regularity, is there a chance we see less cards in person at shows and we're just passing each other's phones back and forth to see what the other person has?
Can I make a quick comment, Ty, before you jump in? The people who invent the virtual showcase are going to be quadrillionaires.
Oh, the virtual showcase, you said?
Like the showcase of here's my vault, and you could tap it and engage with it, and you could do a deal right off there and transfer it. That seems right there.
Seems like that would be tough if you don't have the card nearby, though, right?
What do you mean? It's it's for virtual, and you could transfer from vault to vault from right there.
Understood.
It's like a gigantic iPad screen is basically what I'm picturing in my head.
Understood. You're saying it's a virtual transfer. I don't know. I still think there's something about holding cards in person. 100%. The tangible aspect of cards makes cards. They are very different from NFTs and some of that kind of stuff. Not saying they both don't have desire, they both have demand. They're just different. And while I agree, Lou, that there will be some aspect of that in cards, when you're buying a $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 card, even $100 to somebody is those. Sometimes you want to see that, you want to hold that before you buy that. It's not a pair of jeans you can buy off Amazon or Old Navy or wherever you buy jeans and return them. This is a big collectible investment PC. Like, I don't know. I think there's something different to that.
Right.
So
15 years ago when you went to a show.
Yep.
How'd you price things? How'd you do comps?
15 years ago, I would have had a phone. We probably wouldn't have had a lot of eBay on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you wouldn't have had
right.
a phone 15 years ago. Let's be
Right
honest.
right there. You would have been right
Yeah,
there.
I would have gone in. Like, that's what got me into cards in the original. Is I got a phone in like 06. That's why I got on the internet and stuff like that.
And then it was forums.
Yeah, it was forums. Yeah, it was a lot of like. I mean, honestly, back in the day, a lot of it was at that time. It was probably more Beckett.
Beckett
was still rolling at that time. Yeah.
So to me, I think card shows will always exist.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way that people gather around marketplace in person, buy, sell, trade, no matter what, I think it'll happen. In most suburban towns, there's something called the farmer's market where people pull up and like sell you their potatoes that they grew.
They're always the most fire potatoes.
You can also just, right? And
without
you can
fail.
also just literally go on potatome.com and have potatoes show up your door the next day.
Don't Google that. It might get weird.
Yeah. I guess so. Where I was going is like, you go to a show now and everyone walks up and looks at the sticker price and then says, let me get a comp, look on their phone. Like, I don't know. I think that vaulting will matter. There's a certain number of high-end cards that will end up there. But I think that you're also seeing some more digital storefronts. You go up, vendors are being more thoughtful. Hey, scan this QR code. You can see kind of some stuff I have involved. Here's here's what I have on site. You know, I don't think people are going to shows to say, check out my vault if they're not willing to do some buying or selling right there. You know,
Agreed. I'm not saying vaulting will not exist at card shows. It will be a huge part of card shows, 1,000% more than it was a year ago. It will be this year's the national for sure. Just safety concerns,
a piece of it.
Security risks. There's a lot of reasons. You know, think of some of these major collectors. Those guys aren't putting $1 billion in showcases. $500 million in showcases. Those are going to have vaults. I think it will continue to develop, and I think it will definitely be a big part of the hobby. I just don't think we're going to, I don't think we're all going to put on our VR headsets and go to the card show in 5 years at the National. Like, I don't think we're all going to sit in our living room and go to the National. I don't think that is in the near future, but I definitely think vaulting will be a part of shows in the future for sure.
Just a random little side story. At the 2019 National, I would say it was 50-50 if people were even accepting PayPal. Just want to make that statement as a correlation of how time has changed.
Elaborate on this.
I was trying to buy cards from people at the 2019 National, and I was asking if they would take PayPal, and most people, I would say it was pretty even 50-50 of like, no, I want cash.
You're saying that people take it now or people don't take it now?
I think PayPal is significantly more accepted at a card show than it was 3 years ago.
I would say the opposite.
The opposite?
Yeah, I would say the opposite.
Huh.
I think with chargebacks and people, right or wrong, I think people want cash under the table. I think people don't want chargebacks.
I guess that's fair. Or maybe it was more availability of PayPal. Maybe that's a better way to say it. There was like more dealers, way less dealers using PayPal.
Yeah, I mean, I think the point of this is we have a lot of questions to get to. The market is going to continue to adapt. It will definitely become more digital. There will definitely be digital aspects added to the hobby, especially things that improve the overall functionality of card shows and important pieces of the hobby.
I agree.
Quick hitters.
These are yes or no's.
These are yes or no's, 1 or 2 words, like rapid fire.
I'll do my best.
Chicago Golf Collector.
This is my guy.
Jay. Shout out to Jay for putting a question on here that's open-ended. What's your take on Brixton Disc Golf cards and the recent signing with DGPT? No idea.
I think this might have been that is the account I followed today. I don't really know why.
Yeah, you did. You definitely did.
I do like disc golf, but I don't know.
No idea.
My take is that there's a super passionate crew of people around this country. Disc golf has a real following, but I just want to shout out Chicago Golf Collector 2. Is that what that is? Part of the Card Collector 2 sub niche category tree. I follow this person. I'm interested in golf. They have a very cool collection of random shit in the
I
golf.
love random collections, and especially ones with golf. So
Yeah, like they got weird tiger stuff, couple toys, sealed toys, like early days stuff. Just like a collector and passionate about the disc golf community as well. And so just someone that I've gotten to engage with on social over the last 2-3 years. They send me notes. We go back and forth a little bit. Because of how passionate they are about disc golf, there's someone out there that is also interested on a very large scale. Not much there for me personally.
yeah, agreed. JE_LeBron collector. Now that the NBA deadline is over, who will win the NBA championship?
Denver Nuggets.
Boston Celtics.
Celtics. Yeah.
Kind of a chalk pick. But...
Yeah. Chalk pick. Agreed.
Oh,
Yeah,
any
I'm-
love for
I'm like-
Benedict Mathurin, 101 for Rye. That was a big pickup, but I just want to say shout out to me for picking Paolo Banchero to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Chalk pick. The heels, head over heels favorite. You didn't even know who the guy was when I picked him.
Mathurin?
Yeah, Mathurin.
Mathurin, whatever. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was right. He doesn't really matter in comparison to
He's like
Paolo.
second or third in odds.
Nuggets winning the chip.
Worthless wax. Offseason NFL pickups. Who are y'all going after? Who could be sleeper pickups? We talked about this last week, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. We talked about who would be hot at the National. I think it's going to be football. That's what the question is. QBs, guys that are going to be traded, guys that will be in new homes, guys that will be drafted, guys that will be relevant between now and the start of the season.
Yeah, it's almost too soon to say, but like DeAndre Hopkins, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, those are the names.
Can I throw a name out there that just might be unconventional?
Don't say Jordan Love.
Don't say Baker
Tom
Mayfield.
Brady.
No chance. No chance.
You mean coming back?
Nope.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Narrative of how the career wrapped up and probably where his prices are currently versus 5-10 year window. I just like this past year, I think was a short-term knock on how people think of him and could be a little opportunity. That's just.
I
think it might go the other way.
You think it's going to go down? I agree. I think Brady's stuff is relevant in time. I think until he gets on TV, there will be an opportunity. He will be forgotten about in the next 12 months.
So you think it still goes down?
I think if you're asking,
He's a pretty weird dude, guys. Just saying.
I mean, he went through a divorce and couldn't let go of the love of his life, football. In turn, lost the love of his wife, supermodel wife. Was trying to figure it out and do good by his teammates. Guy has 6 rings.
Got a little stuff going on with his face. I'm just saying.
Depression can fuck you up.
Yeah, man, that's real stuff.
Listen, if we can't use that if we're talking about sports cards. I'm just saying.
What do you mean?
You can't be like, let's move on.
I'm saying I think the dude was super messed up this year.
He's a weird dude.
He's definitely a weird dude. Take him to whatever, but I don't know.
Right.
People are weird dudes.
Card collector 1116.
We keep going.
1116. Start, bench, cut. Gemmy, lefty, flash in the panny.
Okay, start, bench, cut. I'm starting flash in the panty
Me
because he's
too.
putting in an all-time performance. Just one.
We benching lefty and cutting Gemmy.
I think so.
I think that's what I would go to.
I think I'm cutting lefty because
I think you're right,
No.
actually, Lou. I think
No.
we're cutting lefty.
if we're
No.
talking about the lefty, you
Lefty
can't have
is
a quicker
iconic.
fall from grace than the lefty has had in
Yeah,
recent years.
We literally
And I'm
made
not
the
talking
clip,
Lefko.
and- But then lefty on the other side of Lefko might be a long.
He's on an incline. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
does kind of balance out in a weird way. But
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
don't
The
think we
downfall
can
of Phil has been tough.
All right, here's another one. Start, bench, cut. Watching college football, card shows, and F1.
Ooh.
I'm-
Oh.
Watching college
Wow.
football, does that include in person? I'm going to assume it does. I'm I'm starting that. I'm not. I've said this before. If Ohio State, Michigan fell in the same week as the National, I would go to Ohio State, Michigan. I'm beyond passionate about that. I would not change that answer. So I'm benching card shows and I'm cutting F1.
Yeah, I'm doing the exact same lineup.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that I care about college football that much. So I'm probably going to start card shows and I'm going to bench F1 and I'm going to cut college football.
Wow. I respect
Blasphemy.
That, yeah, I'm cutting
Blasphemy.
real quick. And I'm
Houston Card Collector. Has Ryan had to stop somebody from going full tilt when ripping wax?
Didn't we talk about this?
No, I have not.
You haven't yet?
No, we've had some people that are like, that have this is right when I first opened and I kind of needed the sales. Like when I've talked about this before, when I first opened and I needed the sales, like when we had like 50 hobby boxes total, like somebody would come in and rip and you'd get 4 or 5 in. Like they were local and the guys I knew and trusted from like people like that were friends of the shop said, hey, this guy's good. So he'd run up $1,000 bill and then swipe it. So sometimes people would be like, hey, I'm gonna rip and the bill would be like 2, 3, $1,000. You're like, okay, I'm gonna swipe your card real quick before we continue. I would do that a couple times. I've only been burned one time to this day for somebody that did that and was like, hey, I'll get you later. It never got me. I can tell you the product. I can tell you the amount. I can tell you who it is. I can tell you their business they own. I can tell you all this stuff. I own all of it.
What was the amount?
I'm not here to spill dirty laundry.
The amount. It's only your dirty laundry. What was the amount?
$660 on a box of 2020 National Treasures Collegiate Football.
Respect.
Any good pulls from the box?
No, there's 2 boxes left. One customer ripped one.
Clearly bunk.
Hit a good box. They're like, hey, I'll get you tomorrow on that
Karma
box.
matters.
The other box, terrible. So
Karma matters.
Yeah, let it go. But I mean, still remember it. Interesting. Then you've got Card Life UK, the most exciting young football player out there at the moment. Mbappe, Haaland aside.
Say that one more time.
Young footballer, most exciting.
Marcus Rashford.
I've heard a lot about Marcus Rashford.
He's the most informed player probably in the world right now. I
mean, seems easy. I mean, Tosin's collectibles for sure.
It's a great shout.
Yeah, that is a great shout.
The other one I was going to say is Jude Bellingham, who young, super charismatic English midfielder.
Lou. The United States.
Yeah, not a peep about U.S. Messi.
Yo, he's down bad right now, boys.
Jesus, man, this guy.
He's so down bad. Yo,
can we one day when it's all said and done, we need a conglomeration of all of Tyler's thoughts about Christian Pulisic. This guy might be the most disappointing athlete I've ever come across in my life.
Yo, he is down bad.
Every time I hear about Christian Pulisic, I literally think of that Stephen A. Smith clip that says,
"We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived."
Googled his name, and the first headline that comes up is sources. It's the end of the road for Christian Pulisic at Chelsea.
He's going to Real Madrid.
That's good. Oh.
We were Ty, you've had some crazy takes. The MPJ one's up there for sure, but I don't know if we've
taken a ring on a match.
He's back.
I'm literally watching the Nuggets game last night.
I don't know if
they're like talking about how excited the team is, and they name like 7 dudes and didn't name Michael Porter Jr.
I watched him pull up. Like he had a nice little pull-up jumper. He bricked it, but it looked really nice last night.
He's so smooth.
Jay, can you help me get
he couldn't even make it into
Jay, can you help me get I need a 2029 MPJ Comeback Player of the Year hoodie to wear to Card Talk Trade Night.
He did. He gave the Clippers 29 and 11 last night, though.
I need a Jay.
Sneaky.
2029 Comeback Player of the Year.
He needs 3 weeks off for load management now, but other than that, it's fine.
All right, here we go. Brian's Collectibles. Who is the best NFL QB to buy based off price and upside? You know my answer on this.
Mike Vick.
Trevor Lawrence. Michael Vick. What?
I just think Mike Vick has lifetime upside.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess T-Law is the obvious answer, but you could also probably say Midbert if you wanted to. I would not.
Oh, can I ask you a question? Maybe Rye, you know the answer, or just think about it for 30 seconds. Are Deion Sanders cards on the up?
I don't know. Couldn't
It's a
tell.
good question.
He's like so in the mix. And if they actually put a program together, he's like
Deion Sanders cards
really
have always
relevant.
been relatively relevant though, because he was.
Because how swaggy he is.
Yeah, I mean,
Prime.
he's a likable
He's been
guy.
in like the sports world for 30 years.
And he's got it all. I mean, 30 Bird, played for the Yanks.
Coolest dude alive. One of the cooler dudes alive.
And is killing what he's doing in Colorado right now.
Yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Ty, who would you say? QB?
I think T-Law's the right answer.
I think some of the other ones you could put in that conversation are going to be, like Lou talked about earlier, some of the guys you think that'll be traded. The Aaron Rodgers of the world, the Lamar Jacksons, the Derek Carrs. I think those guys have immediate relevancy, which, again, adds to number of searches, number of desire for their cards, people with optimism before or around the draft. Again, Bowman University autos
is really tainted unfairly, but
brother, if Aaron Rodgers ends up in the Jets, you're going to be asking on your story if anybody's got any purple prisms of Aaron Rodgers.
I like Aaron Rodgers, but I think for the general day-to-day consumer, I think Aaron Rodgers has so far been written off as a
I don't think so. I don't think that's true. I think that's what people say, but I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I would agree.
Gotcha.
Anyways,
I'm a big Aaron Rodgers guy until he goes to a different team, and then
I'm a big dark room for 5 days guy.
Well, he bailed, by the way. We're not talking about it because my quarterback, but he was only there for like 2 days and then he left.
We're not talking about it because he's my quarterback. That's spectacular.
Yeah, he dipped out. He went to like Mexico or something.
The Cardboard Collaborative. Do you guys collect anything besides cards?
Yeah.
Sneakers are back in my life big.
I collect everything. I collect tchotchkes. Like,
you are a big tchotchke guy.
Right now I've been collecting art. So I've made 2 fairly significant financial, like physical art purchases that are on my wall in my apartment. I'm 5 figures into art.
That's a pretty significant investment.
I could just go on and on. Like
you're a big pins guy, yeah.
Yep.
An oddball thing I've collected over the years, not for any real long-term value, just because of the uniqueness of it, is there have probably been 10 instances in my life I can think of where a team has won a title and I've bought the newspaper from the city they won the day after the title.
That's a classic.
I own all of the Cavs ones from when they beat the Warriors. I own all of the Ohio State ones from when Ohio State won the first college football playoff. I own all of Mahomes, both of Mahomes titles. I own multiple Patriots titles. Again, I do not collect tickets. I own the tickets from the games I've been to. I think they're a very unique thing. As we move digital, I don't see newspapers being around 50 years from now. So the entire newspaper from that day, that moment in time, is a very unique thing to me. I think it is cool. They frame super well. I have a bunch of them framed and on my wall. I like them. I think they're very unique, and I will continue to collect them. Again, everybody's teach their own, but I think they're very unique. So newspapers are one I collect.
Yeah, I was just on vacation. I like to collect mugs from the places I go to. That's a classic move.
My wife collects all of the Starbucks city mugs.
Oh, that's cool.
Every city she's been to.
I like that.
I do. So like whenever I get like wristbands or like lanyards from events, I always collect those.
There's so many I'm looking at right now.
Growing up as a kid, my dad, whenever you'd have get you have to put this on your wrist to like go in. We did funny shit.
Yeah, listen, everyone cuts them off.
No. My dad would always say his skin was sensitive and allergic.
Oh, yeah.
So he wouldn't have to put it on. And he'd do like the tuck it in the pocket move here.
Then you take it home and it's still minty.
And it's fresh, right? Where now it's like everyone does you have to slide it.
The new thing is ridiculous, by the way.
Off. Like what I'm trying to, it's a keepsake. Like it says All-Star Weekend 2023. Like I want this.
It's the one you pull in, right?
Yeah.
Those are the worst. I don't know when that started.
Like bleeding out of your wrist.
Circulation cut off, disaster.
Yeah.
Kayla collects forward or backwards hats?
Mm.
Lou, you've always been a forward guy. If I had
You're
to
a
pick
big
one,
backwards.
yeah, I wear them backwards. The problem is my head's humongous, so like it's like always
Yeah, I got a dome
bursting.
too.
So
Oh, the
it's
Parisians are back.
yeah, Parisians are back. What the I mean?
Yeah, there's something going on in that hotel.
There's construction happening in your hotel.
No, it's just Red just sleep. She's out like
All right.
light.
Nice.
But yeah, I would say if I had to pick, probably backwards.
Forward's good because I like when there's a little funny message on the front of the hat. You know.
Yeah, I'm a forward guy. I'm a previously backward guy, but now I'm a forward guy.
Pickle juice PB.
Mm.
If you could invest in one sport for the next decade, what would it be?
You know my answer. I don't need to answer.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward for you.
Football.
I will go baseball. All reliable.
I do want to say F1. I promise I want to say F1 because I love that.
No, it's too hard to predict.
So part of that is my enjoyment in that. But to me, it is the football will continue to grow. I like the way that's going. I don't know. I believe in that sport. I love it. I'm so interested in it. To me, it's football.
Do you think we're getting baited into saying pickleball?
No.
Not going to bait me in saying that.
That's my guy Zook. Zook runs a pickleball
Shout out.
Instagram and is a big card collector.
Sin City says, listen to the last one. Anybody going to the Philly card show? I would like to, but I haven't booked anything yet.
I was told I wasn't welcome at the Philly card show.
They don't like you in Philly?
They took it out in October, so they got upset. It sounds like.
I forgot Lou was.
No, I would definitely go to that show. That actually was a fun show.
People that run the Philly show are going to be the people that run the national in 2024 and beyond.
That's cool.
Really?
Side
There's
note
a
for every side
change
note.
of hands in the national?
Mm-hmm. Yep, 2024 and beyond, Cleveland.
Is that like a known thing? I've never heard that before.
I don't know how. I mean, it's
breaking news. Card talk.
Yeah, it's definitely not like.
No, I'm joking.
I've heard it from a couple people, and I know the show promoter, but yeah, Joe and their team, yeah, they run the Philly show and the Chantilly show.
Still want to go to the Chantilly show.
Chantilly show is awesome. It's good for athletes. It's the best show in the country for athlete signings. So shout out to Joe and the team there. They do a great job. That's a good episode. That's a long episode.
That was a
That was
long
a good
episode.
episode.
Shout out to Jay.
Here's one.
Yes.
What are you most looking forward to in sports this week?
Wow. Oh, first Grand Prix. Duh.
Yeah.
I'm locked in.
Bahrain.
Late night, right? Saturday night, late night?
Can I give you a quick hot take, Rye?
Yeah.
I think Lando will be on Alpine this time next year.
Because Piastri's good, Lando's bad.
Because McLaren is a disaster. McLaren seems like they are the worst team right now.
I am hoping that if Drugovich gets an opportunity to race for Lance Stroll, he crushes it. Because I think Lance Stroll stinks. And is
that on the team?
Yeah, I know, but I would love to see Drugovich have success and to make them make that decision.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Lando will be leaving McLaren after this year.
And I would another thing is I would love to see Logan Sargent have success.
Me too, but Williams is tough.
Agreed. I think anything for Logan Sargent, any points finish, would generate some buzz for him.
It's like the George blueprint, but it's just more because he'd be American, so it'd be a bigger deal, at least here.
Exactly.
I would love that. Right, Ty, what about you?
I'm actually excited. Knicks Celtics tonight.
Yeah, in like 30 minutes, right?
Like 30 minutes.
Tonight. It's 12:52 here.
Yep. But then I would just, because I get so much enjoyment from it, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't watched a real full game of Nikola Jokic play basketball,
oh my God,
I just highly recommend it for anyone because it's such a different level and experience of the way he plays the game. It's pretty wild.
He does like 7 things a game that are mind blowing.
It just makes no sense the way he
I
can
heard someone
handle
say he
that
could
ball.
win an MVP for the 3rd straight season.
He's the odds-on favorite by a good amount, and if he doesn't, it's pure robbery.
It's turning around too fast where everyone's like anti-Jokic now, and he's by far the best player in the league.
Not even close.
It's
Really?
not
It's like
even
that?
close. He's by far the best player in the league.
PER, WAR, whatever all the metrics are, owns them all. Nuggets are the
And
first
just watching the games,
first in
it's like
West. He averages like 38 minutes a night.
Yeah, he's
can
minus
ball pick
300.
dudes.
He's minus 310 at FanDuel to win right now.
And that would be his 3rd in a row.
In a row. Embiid's plus 500, Giannis is plus 14, Tatum's plus 18, and Lucas plus 2700.
It's like not even like, unless Joel, they just don't lose between now and the end of the
I
season.
mean, LeBron James at plus 13,000.
he just hurt his foot last night, so he might be out for a while. But
heard something pop.
remember how big of a deal it was when Russell Westbrook was averaging a triple-double? Nikola Jokic is averaging triple-double, and like no one even cares.
Yep, on pace to be the 3rd.
And he's
player
7'3" or whatever. Like
center.
Ty, you picked the Nuggets, so we'll see.
I'm a OG Nuggets fan because Carmelo Anthony, like I was a huge Big East basketball guy. My grandpa and pops used to make me watch him all the time. What Carmelo Anthony did his freshman year at Syracuse was super different. And when he came out, went to the Nuggets, high school, they had the super swaggy jersey. I was a big.
what about the rainbow retro? Fire.
Exactly, crazy. And he was dope. He had the braids, Baltimore cat. So Birdman, AI got traded to that team. Mr.
They had
Big
Andre
Shot.
Miller and Kenyon Martin at that time. Classic
Yep.
squad.
Yep.
Bride's like, I don't know
classic
anything
squad.
about that. That was a good
It
squad.
it
Andre Miller was a
real-
baller.
Yeah,
I didn't say it
And
wasn't. I
Birdman
remember
put in
that.
minutes. He'd run down the court after a big play, flapping his arms, doing crazy.
Man, that guy was awesome. What a
I'm
show.
going to sleep.
Goodbye, Ryan.
What
Enjoy
a
Patty.
Love
you,
y'all.
pal.
Peace.